The first time I met her, I was trying to pry my boots out of a patch of living mud that kept whispering insults. The mud was winning. I had just escaped a skirmish with a rogue drone pack, my armor half melted and my patience completely vaporized, when she appeared above me. Standing upside down on a floating shard of rock like gravity was just an optional setting she could toggle off. She smiled with the kind of confidence that suggested she'd already read my entire life story and found it mildly disappointing. Her long ears twitched with amusement, and she tilted her head. "Warrior," she announced, "you look like a malfunctioning toaster. Are you always this dramatic, or is today special?" I opened my mouth to reply, but the mud whispered something unprintable, and she laughed. The rock flipped, dropping her gracefully to the ground. She landed so lightly that the mud didn't even dare mock her. "Name's Riley," she said. "I've been watching you try to survive my test. Honestly, I expected more screaming." "Your test?" I yanked my leg free and nearly fell backward. "That mud is yours. It's very supportive once you get to know it, emotionally, I mean." She leaned closer. "You passed the second trial." I blinked. What was the first? Not dying before the second. I stared at her, trying to decide if she was joking. Her species, Valerians, were known across the sector for their mischief, cryptic rituals, and tendency to treat danger like a recreational sport. I had heard rumors about them, but nothing prepared me for the reality standing inches from my face, smiling like she'd just discovered a new toy. She extended a sleek device that emitted a pulse of shimmering light. The mud shivered, sighed dramatically, and quietly retracted. Riley dusted off my armor as if I were a child who'd fallen in a garden. "There. Now you're presentable enough to not embarrass me. I don't even know you." "You will," she said cheerfully, "whether you want to or not." Before I could respond, the ground trembled. A drone, one of the ones I thought I had destroyed, rose from the debris, glowing with unstable energy. It screeched a warning, ready to detonate. I reached for my blaster, but Riley calmly raised her hand. "Mine," she said. She flicked her fingers, and a ripple of distortion bent the air. Space folded for a heartbeat, and the drone blinked out of existence like someone had turned off its reality switch. "That wasn't an explosion," I said. "No," she replied. "Explosions are boring. Spatial flick knocking is much more fun." I wasn't sure flick knocking was a real scientific term, but I wasn't in a position to argue. We trekked across the shattered field, her hopping from rock to rock while I limped behind, trying not to look as exhausted as I felt. Every few minutes she'd glance back to make sure I was still alive, offering absolutely no assistance in the process. "So why am I being tested?" I asked once my lungs stopped sounding like damaged turbines. She grinned. "Because you intrigue me. Humans are unpredictable, sometimes squishy, often loud, but occasionally you do something impressive. I wanted to see which category you belong to." "And I haven't decided yet," she said brightly. We reached a ridge overlooking a valley of bioluminescent plants that pulsed like beating hearts. The sight was mesmerizing, until Riley gave me a sharp poke. "Don't stare too long. They imprint on you and start following you home." Very clingy flora. I took a cautious step back. She sat on a smooth boulder, long ears flicking in the soft breeze. Her mischief softened for the first time, replaced with something almost thoughtful. "You handled the trials better than I expected. Most warriors panic when faced with unpredictable environments. You adapt." "I complain loudly," I corrected. "Adapt," she insisted. "Loudly." Her expression shifted again, more serious, but still carrying a spark of mischief underneath. "Warrior, you should know something. My people have traditions, old ones, strange ones. One of them, well, let's say you've walked into something complicated." I felt a chill. Define complicated. Before she could answer, the air around us shimmered. A holographic emblem appeared above her palm, the Valerian symbol of oath binding. She looked at it, then at me. "You passed all 3 tests," she said quietly. "I thought there were 2. The third was surviving me explaining the first 2. I didn't even know how to respond. She stood, stepped closer, and with an unexpected gentleness touched my shoulder. According to my people's tradition, when a warrior meets all the challenges without fleeing, failing, or crying, yes, crying is a disqualifier, we become bonded. Bonded how? I asked, fully bracing for the worst. Riley smiled, ears lifting in delight. For life, she declared. I am your chosen playmate from this day forward. Congratulations. I stared at her. She waited. The bioluminescent plants pulsed like they were holding their breath. Finally I managed, "Are you joking?" "If I were joking," she said, "you'd be upside down right now." I swallowed. "So, what does this bond mean?" Her smile widened into something far too happy for my comfort. "It means, warrior, that wherever you go, I go, whatever danger you face, I face, and whatever chaos occurs," she winked. "I probably caused it." I exhaled slowly, already feeling the universe laughing at me. "Welcome to your new life," she said brightly. "Try not to die, it would be very inconvenient for me." I discovered very quickly that traveling with a lifelong alien playmate was equal parts adventure, headache, and cardio exercise. Mostly cardio, because Riley refused to walk anywhere normally. She bounced, floated, slid, teleported 3 centimeters at a time just to feel the rhythm, and once rode a drifting cargo crate like it was some cosmic surfboard. I followed behind like a tired babysitter who'd lost control of reality somewhere around breakfast. Our first mission as a bonded pair, as she kept calling it, was to reach a malfunctioning wormhole generator orbiting a mining moon. According to command, it had started generating unstable rifts, tiny gravitational hiccups that swallowed equipment, cargo, and once, unfortunately, the captain's lunch. The man was still grieving for his sandwich. Riley seemed delighted by the assignment. "Wormholes are so moody," she said as we docked, "like teenagers but with the power to erase existence." "That's comforting," I muttered, tightening the seals on my suit. The moment the airlock opened, a shockwave rippled through the station. Tools, data pads, and an abandoned cup of coffee floated past us, spinning gracefully in the zero-gravity turbulence. Riley clapped her hands like she'd stepped into an amusement park. "Oh good, it's already angry." "Angry?" I grabbed a handrail as a wrench drifted by, heading straight for my face. Weren't we supposed to stabilize it before it reached the angry stage? Riley drifted upside down beside me. "Technically, yes, but think of the bonding opportunities this provides." "I thought we were already bonded." "Yes, but you still flinch when I appear behind you." Anyone would flinch if someone materialized inside their personal space bubble without warning. She smirked, unrepentant. We entered the core chamber, which looked like the aftermath of an especially chaotic science fair. Energy crackled in the air, rips in space opened and closed like blinking eyes, and the wormhole generator itself pulsed with an alarming shade of purple. Purple was never a good sign in engineering. Purple meant things were about to explode, shift dimension, or become self-aware and start negotiating rent. Before I could assess the controls, a gravity surge hit. The entire room tipped sideways. I found myself plastered against a wall, arms and legs splayed like someone had thrown a human-shaped sticker. Riley floated above the chaos, completely unaffected. "This is delightful." "For who?" I yelled, trying to peel myself off the metal. "Me," she said sweetly. She flicked her wrist, creating a small stabilizing wave that loosened gravity's grip. I crashed unceremoniously to the floor. She gave me a thumbs up. "See? Teamwork." "That wasn't teamwork," I groaned. "That was you watching me struggle for entertainment." She tilted her head innocently. "Same thing." I crawled toward the control console, bracing myself against shifting gravity pockets. Riley hovered beside me, observing the readings. "The wormhole is trying to split," she murmured. "2 exits, 1 entrance, very inefficient." "Can we fix it?" "Of course." She stretched her arms dramatically. "I just need to soothe it." "What? You mean adjust quantum parameters?" "No," she pointed at the glowing core. "Soothe it." Before I could stop her, she floated to the center of the room, placed both hands on the swirling vortex and began talking to it. Actually talking to it, in a soft, cooing tone normally reserved for babies or very cute animals. There, little rift. You're doing your best. I know you're overwhelmed. Big galaxy, tiny event horizon. The wormhole pulsed uncertainly. A spatial ripple bounced through the station, tossing me backward like a rag doll. Riley. She waved at me with one hand. It's listening. Are you sure it's not preparing to eat us? Same thing. I had stopped questioning her logic hours ago. Questioning only made my brain hurt. Still, I forced myself up and rerouted auxiliary power to the stabilizers. Riley's voice echoed through the chamber, gentle, strange, and somehow calming. The vortex dimmed from frantic purple to a softer, shimmering blue. Finally, she floated back to me, a satisfied grin on her face. See, all better. It just needed validation. You comforted a wormhole, I said weakly. Wouldn't you want comfort if you were tearing spacetime apart? Before I could argue, the station's lights flickered, and the gravity returned to normal. The wormhole generator hummed in a peaceful, non-threatening way, like it had just finished therapy and was ready to rejoin society. The crisis ended without either of us being disintegrated, which I counted as a win. As we headed back to the ship, Riley drifted beside me, ears bouncing lightly with each movement. You did well, she said. I mostly got flung around the room. Yes, but you did it bravely. That doesn't make it better. It does for me. She bumped her shoulder lightly against mine, an unmistakably affectionate gesture. See, warrior, this is what being bonded means. I cause chaos, you try to be responsible, and together we keep the galaxy standing. Barely standing, I corrected. Standing is standing, she said brightly. I sighed, but I couldn't help the small smile tugging at my lips. Traveling with Riley was unpredictable, exhausting, and occasionally life-threatening. But somehow it was never dull. I knew something was wrong the moment we stepped onto the Valyrian flagship. Riley, normally a walking storm of mischief and hyperactive commentary, went silent. Not planning something chaotic silent, but the kind of quiet that made the air feel heavier than artificial gravity should allow. Her long ears lowered slightly, a sign I had only seen once before. When she'd realized, she almost lost me to a collapsing stasis pod. The hall stretched before us like a cathedral carved from living crystal, each surface humming with ancient energy. Valyrians stood on either side, their expressions unreadable but their posture stiff. I nudged Riley. So, your people always greet guests like they're about to be vaporized, or is this a special occasion? No jokes, she whispered. Not yet. That sentence alone terrified me. At the end of the hall stood the high circle, 5 elders with ears even longer than Riley's and faces carved from centuries of tradition. Their leader stepped forward, staff glowing with a blue so bright it hurt to look at. Riley of the unruly path, he declared, you have broken the sacred pattern. A Valyrian may not bond with an outsider. You will dissolve the oath. Riley stiffened beside me. No. No, the elder echoed, as if the word had never existed before today. She stepped in front of me, shielding me with a reflex she probably didn't even think about. He passed the trials. He endured the tests. He met the chaos without fear. The bond is valid. The elder struck his staff on the floor and the crystal rippled like water. You will end it, or face exile from our people. I cleared my throat. I'm right here, maybe I should get a vote, or a pamphlet, something. Several elders blinked at me, clearly unused to commentary from the potential exile-inducing variable. Riley squeezed my arm. Don't. What? I'm helping. You're really not. The atmosphere thickened. The energy from the staff sharpened, spreading like a web across the floor. My instincts screamed danger, but Riley stood tall, unshaken. I will not dissolve the bond, she said. He is my chosen. Murmurs rippled through the hall, rising into an uproar. A few Valyrians clutched their chests as if she had declared she was marrying a toaster. The elder raised his staff again. Then he must prove himself in the right of continuance. Riley paled. That right is forbidden. It was banned centuries ago. It is the only path, the elder said. I looked between them. Should I be worried? Yes, they both replied at once. I sighed, of course. We were escorted, more like pushed, into an arena carved out of shimmering crystal. Floating platforms drifted above us, rotating slowly like mechanical pedals. Energy currents wove through the air in unpredictable streams. Riley grabbed my shoulders. Listen, this challenge is not about strength, it's about resonance. You must align with the platforms, move with them, feel the rhythm. And whatever you do, don't jump. Why not jump? Because last time someone jumped, the arena inverted and folded them into a pocket dimension shaped like a soup bowl. That's specific. She pressed her forehead gently to mine. Be careful. The platforms glowed, the floor dissolved, and suddenly I was suspended in midair, drifting among rotating shards of crystal that pulsed with their own tempo. A voice boomed through the chamber. Begin. I reached for the nearest platform and misjudged the timing completely. It smacked into me, spinning me backward like a helpless pinball. Riley winced from the sidelines. Warrior, move with the rhythm. What rhythm? This is chaos. That is the rhythm. Fantastic. I stopped fighting and started watching. The platforms weren't random. They swayed, paused, accelerated, then repeated. A pattern emerged, subtle but real. I inhaled, exhaled, and moved. Not gracefully, more like a toddler learning to walk in 3 dimensions, but enough to land on the next platform without bruising another organ. The arena brightened. Energy swirled around me. The platforms synced with my steps. And before I realized it, I was in sync with the entire structure. A final pulse of energy shot upward, enveloping me in brilliant light. When the glow faded, I stood on the ground again, slightly singed but alive. The high circle stared. Something shifted in their expressions, not exactly approval but acceptance with startled confusion sprinkled on top. Riley rushed to me, nearly tackling me. You did it, you resonated, and you didn't even get pocket dimensioned. I'm proud of myself for that last part. The elder approached, lowering his staff. The bond stands. You have proven your worth, human warrior. May your partnership bring equilibrium, or at least fewer catastrophes than expected. Unlikely, Riley said confidently. She laced her fingers with mine, boldly, openly, in front of the entire species that had just threatened her freedom. As we left the flagship, she walked beside me, ears lifted high and steps light. You know, she said softly, before you, I never thought I'd choose someone for life. I squeezed her hand. Before you, I never thought I'd survive someone like you. You still might not. I know. She leaned her head against my shoulder as we boarded our ship. Warrior, thank you for not running away. I considered it, I admitted. Then I realized you just teleport into my escape pod. Absolutely. The engines hummed. Stars stretched into streaks as we leapt into hyperspace. Wherever we were going next, whatever disaster